all women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public, because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children, men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts: the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, and the transcendentals, the good, true, and beautiful. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Feminismus delendus 8. The War on Women: How Feminism and the CIA Destroyed the Family and Western Civilization. Written by Conrad Riker. Available now, links in description. The War on Women, a field guide for men who still notice reality. The solipsistic syntax of the decorative gourd. Why your scented candle is not a patriarchal plantation, and how the auto-colonization lie is a Marxist war on the domestic cathedral and the male provision that pays for the pumpkins. I read Dr.
Winona's manifesto so you don't have to undergo the cerebral hemorrhage required to pass it.
It is a masterpiece of solipsistic syntax, a verbal maze where the minotaur is logic and the string leading you out has been cut by a pair of safety scissors. The good doctor posits that when a woman buys a pumpkin-scented candle, she isn't engaging in the ancient biological nesting instinct or seeking a momentary aesthetic respite from a chaotic world. No, she is undergoing auto-colonization. This is the intellectual fraud of the century, a neologism designed to strip women of their logos, their capacity for reason and agency, by framing their voluntary choices as complicity. In the good doctor's world, a woman is not a sovereign agent capable of self-determination. She is a leaf in the wind of patriarchal capitalism, a mindless NPC programmed to buy gourds for the glory of the oppressor. This is the insidious nature of the leftist hive mind. It must categorize all happiness found outside the collective as a false consciousness, a symptom of ideological possession where the only cure is conveniently total submission to their nihilistic worldview. But let us apply the trivium to this sophistry and see what rots. The doctor mourns the 18.5 billion spent on seasonal decor, wailing that this labor is unpaid and repackaged. Here lies the gamma bias and the great erasure of the male provider. Who, pray tell, provides the 18.5 billion? It is the man working the overtime shift, the tradesman breaking his back on the apprenticeship mastery ladder, the engineer solving problems while the doctor theorizes about emotional capitalism. The male labor that purchases the domestic tranquility is rendered invisible, disposable, while the female act of beautifying the cave is pathologized as victimhood. The doctor calls this unpaid labor, but in the natural law of the family, a civil society association predating the state, this is the mixed constitution of the household. The man provides the resources, power, and the woman orchestrates the environment sanctuary. It is a symbiotic exchange of value, not a master-slave dialectic. The most hilarious tragedy in this word, salad, is the doctor's accidental validation of Schopenhauer's will to life. She describes the drive to create a home, to exercise, to groom, as if it were a sinister plot by the male gaze. She demands women interrogate their pleasure, a totalitarian command worthy of the Spanish Inquisition, rebranded with therapy speak. This is the empathy gap inverted. The doctor assumes women are too weak to resist the siren song of a jade roller, yet strong enough to topple civilization. She hates the hierarchy of the domestic sphere because she hates nature itself. She sees a woman seeking beauty, a transcendental virtue, and sees only a project of optimization. We are witnessing the zombie march of cultural Marxism, where the goal is to sever the bond between men and women, reducing the family to a mere economic unit of the state, and replacing the warm glow of a hearth with the cold, sterile light of a faculty lounge. They don't want to free women from the home. They want to enslave them to the grievance industry. Bunkum article by a feminist PhD.
Your ritual is their revenue. How the wellness industry auto-colonizes your resistance. By Dr. Winona, feminist Marxist PhD. Every autumn, the ritual begins. You purchase the cinnamon-scented candles.
You arrange the decorative gourds. You feel a small, warm flutter of accomplishment. Seasonal decor completed. A tiny victory in an otherwise chaotic world. That warmth, it's not comfort, it's complicity. What you're experiencing is auto-colonization, a process I've theorized extensively in my forthcoming monograph, and it represents one of the most insidious mechanisms through which patriarchal capitalism maintains its stranglehold on our collective consciousness. The seasonal decor industry generates $18.5 billion annually in North America alone. 78% of purchases are made by women. The labor of creating home, that gendered, unpaid, invisible work is repackaged and sold back to us as self-expression and festive spirit. You aren't decorating, you're performing emotional capitalism. Each pumpkin-spiced accessory is a small tithe to the patriarchal wellness industrial complex, a system that extracts your creative labor, monetizes your domesticity, and convinces you it was your idea. Consider the home workout, the yoga mat unrolled in the living room, the smartphone propped against a stack of books, the instructor's voice filling your apartment with encouragement. Do it for yourself, she says. You deserve this time. What she means is, your body remains a project, your time remains productive, your worth remains conditional. The at-home fitness industry exploded during the pandemic, reaching $30.8 billion globally. But the pandemic didn't create this dynamic, it revealed it. Women were already performing 76% of unpaid domestic labor, while being told that their me time, always framed as a luxury, never a right, should involve further disciplined management of their bodies. The home workout isn't liberation from the male gaze. It's internalization of the male gaze, so complete you no longer need a man present to perform for one. And then there's the face roller, that cool jade stone you drag across your skin each morning, convinced it's reducing puffiness, promoting lymphatic drainage, demonstrating self-care. The global facial tools market is projected to reach $17.6 billion by 2027. The primary consumers, women aged 25 to 45, the primary beneficiaries, male-owned corporations, male-dominated investment firms, and a beauty standard constructed by and for patriarchal consumption. Every face roller purchase is a microtransaction in the economy of female self-surveillance. You are not caring for yourself. You are maintaining the asset. Your face is not your own. It's property being preserved for its eventual appraisal. Now, I can hear the objections forming, the defensive responses climbing up your throat like bile, but I enjoy it. It makes me feel good. Isn't feminism about choice? This is the genius of auto-colonization. It transforms acts of compliance into experiences of pleasure. It makes the cage comfortable. It wraps the chains in velvet and calls them accessories. The concept of choice feminism, that any choice a woman makes is automatically feminist, by virtue of her making it, represents the ultimate triumph of patriarchal co-optation. It's intellectual surrender dressed in empowerment language. When choice exists within a system fundamentally structured to extract value from women's bodies, labor, and emotional capacity, that choice is already constrained, already colonized, already compromised. Intersectionality demands we go further. The women most exploited by these industries, low-wage workers manufacturing your decorative pumpkins in Guangdong, your yoga mats in Tamil Nadu, your jade rollers from stones mined in Overwatch conditions, are themselves caught in this web. Their exploitation enables your self-care. Your participation in the system validates and perpetuates their extraction. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism, but there is especially no ethical self-care under patriarchy. The men in your life, the partners who appreciate your decorated home, the boyfriends who benefit from your fitness dedication, the male gaze you internalize each morning at the mirror, are not oppressors in the crude. mustache-twirling sense of propaganda. They are beneficiaries of structural asymmetry. They receive the surplus value of your auto-colonization without lifting a finger. They enjoy the emotional, aesthetic, and domestic labor you perform while believing it's for yourself. And when men do engage in comparable behaviors, seasonal decoration, home exercise, skincare routines, they are celebrated, memified, granted personality bonuses for performing the minimum. A man who arranges a throw pillow is domestic. A woman who fails to do so is lazy. A man who goes to the gym is dedicated. A woman who doesn't is letting herself go. These are not double standards. They are single standards applied asymmetrically. Men are praised for presence, women are punished for absence. So what is to be done? The first step is epistemic, recognizing auto-colonization as it occurs. That moment of pleasure you feel when arranging seasonal decor. Interrogate it, that satisfaction after a home workout. Dissect it, that morning ritual with your face roller. Question its origins, its beneficiaries, its true costs. The second step is collective. These cannot be individual solutions to structural problems. Your self-care will not save you because it was never designed to liberate. It was designed to manage, to pacify, to extract. The third step is revolutionary. We must build new rituals, new practices, new economies that exist outside patriarchal extraction. Communal care instead of isolated self-care. Shared resources instead of individual purchases. Bodies as sites of resistance rather than projects of optimization. Your ritual is their revenue. Your wellness is their wealth. Your self-care is their control. The only way out is through each other. Auto-colonization ends when we stop performing for structures that were never built for us and start building structures that were. The solipsistic syntax of servitude, deconstructing the auto-colonization word salad. The late philosopher Schopenhauer famously described women as big children, a concept offensive to modern sensibilities, yet one history persistently upholds as a physiological and psychological fact.
This childish self-obsession manifests clearly in Dr. Winona feminist Marxist's paper on auto-colonization, a term so deeply foolish it essentially satirizes itself.
The academic laments that the seasonal decor industry generates $18.5 billion annually, and that 78% of purchases are made by women. Yet she portrays this willing trade of money for cinnamon-scented candles as a criminal act, where the patriarchy is the aggressor and the female is the prey. This represents the gamma bias at its most refined. Females act as both the unstoppable motors of the economy and the helpless, slobbering fools tricked by a marketing slogan. The writer treats the feminine urge for nesting, an instinct as ancient as birds or bees, as a capitalist complicity, while completely erasing the male effort that finances such buying. Through the lens of her distorted ideology, the male laboring 60 hours weekly in a brake dust plant to afford his wife a pumpkin spice latte becomes a beneficiary of structural asymmetry, whereas the female spending his earnings stands as the downtrodden proletariat. Such writing is not critical examination. Rather, it resembles a juvenile tantrum directed at the existence of cause and effect. One must admire the sheer, unadulterated gall of the Marxist acolyte who tells you that your happiness is a lie. The author screeches your ritual is their revenue, pretending to critique consumerism while actually engaging in a hostile takeover of the female soul. She is not fighting the corporations, she is fighting the competition. The wellness industrial complex is just a rival religion to the Church of Intersectionality, and the doctor wants the tithes for herself. By framing the home as a site of emotional capitalism rather than the sacred center of civil society, she seeks to strip the family of its private sovereignty. This is a direct violation of the principle of subsidiarity, which dictates that matters should be handled by the smallest, most local, competent authority, the family, rather than the Leviathan state or the academic Politburo. The author doesn't want you to stop buying candles. She wants you to start buying guilt. She offers a spiritual revenue extraction scheme where the currency is your neurosis and the profit is your submission to the collective hive mind. Consider the grotesque command to interrogate your pleasure. This acts as the hallmark of totalitarian therapy speak, a linguistic virus designed to turn your own mind into a prison cell. The writer tells you that if you enjoy a yoga mat or a face roller, you are not experiencing joy. You are experiencing internalization of the male gaze. This is epistemic gating of the highest order. She claims the status of the high priestess, possessing the secret knowledge that your feelings are false. If you say, "But I like feeling healthy," she applies the sanction of false consciousness. It is a self-sealing ideological loop worthy of a cult leader. She attempts to replace the transcendental of beauty with the virtue of victimization. In the world of the red-pilled man, we recognize that a woman's desire to be beautiful is not performative for a nebulous male gaze, but a manifestation of natural order and sexual selection, a ladder of evolutionary competence that the doctor seething in her dusty office wishes to dismantle out of sheer spite for the hierarchy she cannot climb. The author's use of intersectionality is nothing more than a semantic smokescreen to hide the bankruptcy of her arguments. She invokes the low-wage workers manufacturing your decorative pumpkins to claim immunity from criticism. To disagree with her is to hate the poor. This is not logic, it is a moral shakedown. She utilizes the moral asymmetry of the modern left. Women are moral patients, victims. Men are moral agents, oppressors, and the enlightened academic is the savior. She wails that men are praised for presence, women are punished for absence, yet ignores the glaring reality of the empathy gap. When a man decorates a house, he is indeed praised. Because it is surplus to his biological requirement, he is a decorative peacock. When a woman does it, it is expected because it is her domain. The doctor calls this a double standard. A rational man calls it a division of labor. She ignores the responsibility without authority that men face. They are expected to fund the self-care industry, $17.6 billion for face tools alone, but have zero authority over the household aesthetic. Yet they are still blamed for the outcome. We must examine the etymological fraud of auto-colonization. Within the trivium, the initial phase is grammar, defining terms. Colonization implies an external force entering a territory to exploit it. Auto means self. Thus, auto-colonization is a contradictio in ejecto, a logical absurdity like dry water or feminist logic. It asserts that women are colonizing themselves. But who is the colonizer? The patriarchy. Then it isn't auto, is it? It is just colonization. Or is it that women are so weak-minded, so lacking in agency, that they do the patriarchy's work for free? This writer inadvertently confirms the red-pill truth. Women are high in agreeableness and prone to solipsistic conformity. She describes a cage that is comfortable wrapped in velvet. She is projecting her own intellectual cage onto you. She is the one trapped in a word salad of Marxist theory, unable to comprehend that a woman might buy a jade roller simply because she likes how it feels on her skin, not because she is maintaining the asset for a man. The syllogism of the left is fatally flawed. Premise A, women make choices I dislike. Premise B, patriarchy is all-powerful. Conclusion, women are mindless drones. This violates natural law, which grants free will to the individual. The only drone here is the doctor, reciting her catechism of victimhood. Ultimately, this article is not a critique of capitalism. It is a declaration of war against the mixed constitution of the family. The writer seeks to replace the husband, the protector and provider, with the state and the corporation, while blaming the husband for the corporation's existence. She deconstructs the home until it is no longer a sanctuary, but a site of resistance. She tells you that the only way out is through each other, by which she means through collective, sexless, state-dependent conformity. Do not fall for this solipsistic syntax of servitude. Your ritual is not their revenue. Your ritual is the glue holding Western civilization together against the barbarians at the gate who wish to replace your family photos with protest signs and your holiday dinners with struggle sessions. Having dismantled the syllogism of stolen agency, we see her rhetoric for what it is, a projection of her own intellectual confinement. Yet, this assault on rationality is merely the software. The hardware target is the physical environment itself. When the ideologue mocks the seasonal ritual sneering at the decorative gourd, She is not critiquing capitalism, but waging iconoclasm against beauty itself. This vandalism serves a specific function within the propaganda loop, to strip the home of its status as a sanctuary and render it a gray, sterile void where the will to life is suffocated by abstract theory. We must now examine how this rejection of the biological imperative and the logocentric gaze paves the way for barbarism, deploying the four riders to trample the practical reason of the family. The domestic cathedral and the Marxist wasteland, defending the private sphere against the zombie ideology. Beauty will save the world. Fyodor Dostoevsky famously wrote, a sentiment so powerful it terrifies every dour technocrat and gender studies academic.
When one places a cinnamon-scented candle on the mantelpiece or arranges decorative gourds, one is not, as Dr. Winona argues, participating in complicity with patriarchy. One is engaging in cosmogenesis.
This act imposes order upon chaos. Western civilization's traditions from the Parthenon to the suburban residents are founded upon the transcendentals, truth, beauty, and goodness. These are not social constructs, but the bedrock of reality, a metaphysical structure the left detests precisely because it stands apart from their feelings.
Organizing a home is a participation in the logos, forging a haven of peace pax domus within a chaotic world. We known as contempt for seasonal decor is effectively a contempt for iconography.
Orthodoxy views the icon as a window to heaven. The West views the well-ordered home as a mirror of the well-ordered soul. By mocking the decorative gourd, she unveils the iconoclastic heart of the Marxist agenda, a desire to shatter beauty because it necessitates a standard which begets hierarchy, which demands competence, and since the leftist lacks competence, survival is only possible in an ugly, flattened wasteland. Observe the cities embracing her ideology: San Francisco, Portland, Detroit. They are drowning in filth, theft, and disarray. This dysfunction is not accidental. It is the unavoidable product of branding aesthetics as oppression. This drive to build a home, pathologized by the writer as auto-colonization, functions with the same inevitability as gravity. Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of the will, grasped that humanity is propelled by the will to life, a compulsion existing prior to logic. When a woman crafts a dwelling, she executes a biological command securing species survival across eons. Birds construct nests, beavers erect dams, and human females curate their surroundings. Shaming this drive equates to waging war against nature itself. This writer suffers from profound ideological possession, a zombie-like condition where the theoretical virus of cultural Marxism supersedes the human animal's biological firmware. She labels the solace of a decorated home a cage, yet the genuine prison is her own ideology, a closed circuit of recursive bitterness, prohibiting the enjoyment of simple, transcendent pleasures like a pumpkin. She demands you interrogate your joy. Why? Because within the leftist taxonomy, happiness sourced from the private sphere constitutes a betrayal of the collective. It represents a thought crime. Feeling warmth when viewing autumn decor signals your biology and soul aligning with the good. This writer wishes you to sever that link, transforming into a sterile, joyless production unit for the state, deriving sole pleasure from the dopamine hit of signaling virtue against the patriarchy. We must track this malignancy to its origin. This issue extends beyond a doctor.
Winona problem, it represents the unavoidable yield of the Frankfurt School and the CIA's mid-century cultural meddling, Operation Mockingbird, Gloria Steinem's funding, intended to shatter the family structure.
Their aim remained consistent: cut the tie linking husband and wife, shifting a woman's reliance from the paterfamilias to the state pater. That conspiracy of lies operates thusly. They claim domestic life is a jail while employment means freedom. They tricked women into swapping the natural power of the matriarch, ruler of her household, for the barren drudgery of the HR department or gig economy.
Consequently, men are diminished to sperm donors, tax mules, robbed of auctoritas yet saddled with responsibility to finance a structure that loathes them. Winona's rhetoric functions as a weapon in this conflict.
By casting the male benefit of a pleasant dwelling as extraction and surplus value, she applies Marxist labor theory to marriage. She disregards the 4 female writers of the men's rights apocalypse. The empathy gap. Society ignores the man working 60 hours to afford that decor. Gamma bias, his provision goes unseen. Her decoration constitutes oppression. Male disposability, he serves only as a resource for extraction, and responsibility without authority. He funds the house, yet she is urged to see it as her colonized territory. Consider the writer's attack on the male gaze. She frames it as a predatory surveillance camera, but she has it exactly backward. In the Western tradition, the masculine is the logocentric principle, the ordering force. The male gaze, in its healthy, civilized form, is the beneficent gaze of the protector-provider. It is the gaze of the master builder looking at the plans, or the father looking at his child. It is the gaze that validates the domestic sphere by investing surplus labor into it. When a man appreciates a decorated home, he is not consuming a product. He is witnessing the fruits of his provision realized in beauty. By rejecting this gaze, she is rejecting the reciprocal duty that underpins the social contract. She wants the resources, the house, the income, the security, without the obligation to please the provider. She wants the status of the victim and the power of the sovereign simultaneously. This is the definition of solipsism. It turns the home from a partnership of complementary opposites into a battlefield of zero-sum resentment. The writer's ultimate remedy, replacing the organic family with communal care and shared resources, is the siren song of the totalitarian state. History stands as a graveyard of regimes that tried to swap the oikos, the family economy, with the polis, the state economy. From Plato's Republic to the Israeli kibbutzim to the Khmer Rouge, the effort to raise children communally and abolish private intimacy has failed catastrophically every time. Why? Because kin altruism is a biological reality. Individuals prioritize their own children because they carry their genes and culture. Communal care is a euphemism for neglect by indifferent bureaucrats. She preaches civilizational suicide as a path to salvation, seeking to dismantle the apprenticeship mastery ladder of domesticity, the art of cooking, cleaning, decorating, and managing a household, because these virtues, prudence, temperance, justice, fortitude, create independent citizens who do not need the state. A woman who knows how to run a home is a threat to the welfare office. A man who knows how to fix a car is a threat to the corporate service economy. Ultimately, the wellness industry critique is a projection. She claims the industry sells you a cage, but her ideology sells you a void. She offers you a Marxist wasteland where nothing is yours, where beauty is a tool of oppression, and where your natural instincts are pathologized. This is the zombie ideology, a dead idea, Marxism that keeps walking, eating the brains of the living, unable to create, only to destroy. The home is the last bastion of the private sphere, the domestic cathedral where the spirit of Western civilization is actually preserved, one decorative gourd at a time. Do not let the zombie in. Do not let her shame you into gray utilitarian misery. Your ritual is not their revenue. Your ritual is your resistance. Defend your hearth. You have seen through the semantic smokescreen. You have witnessed the pathetic spectacle of a doctor telling women that finding joy in a pumpkin is a thought crime against the collective. But let us not leave this battlefield without recognizing the true stakes. The doctor.
Winonas of the world do not hate your throw pillows. They hate the loggers that built the house that holds them.
They hate the natural law that dictates a man who provides a home and a woman who makes it beautiful are not oppressor and oppressed, but partners in the oldest and most successful contract our species ever devised. The family. This is the secret they cannot allow you to speak. The auto-colonization she describes with such venom is nothing more than the mixed constitution of the domestic sphere functioning as intended. Subsidiarity in action where problems are solved at the lowest, most intimate level, far from the grasping hands of the state. The home is the final fortress of the Western spirit, the training ground where the virtues are passed from mother to child, where the transcendentals of beauty, truth, and goodness are made tangible in the smell of cinnamon and the order of a well-made bed. To politicize this is to destroy the only sanctuary left in a world gone mad. You must comprehend the machinery of your own disposal. The sisterhood of the traveling grievance has weaponized gamma bias to render your sacrifice invisible and your reward illegitimate. Observe the cold data. Men comprise over 75% of suicides, 92% of workplace fatalities, and receive sentences 63% longer than women for the same crimes. Yet the patriarchy we supposedly inhabit has no commission for these disparities. In family courts, fathers are granted sole custody in less than 18% of cases. While being compelled to fund households, they are legally barred from entering responsibility without authority. The defining condition of the modern male under gynocentric rule, the very male gaze the writer demonizes, is the protective oversight that built the hospitals she works in, the roads she drives on, and the legal systems that will privilege her testimony over yours without a second thought. This is not a conspiracy of men against women. It is a conspiracy of civilization against chaos, and you, friend, have been cast as the villain for playing your part too well. The feminist critique is a self-sealing ideology. Your disagreement proves your fragility, and your agreement proves your guilt, while the four horsemen of the MRA apocalypse trample your rights. The empathy gap ensures no one cares about your suffering. Male disposability ensures you are used and discarded. Gamma bias ensures your contributions are erased. And the asymmetry of duty ensures you are blamed for outcomes you cannot control. But here is the hopeful revelation that unalterable truth, their belief system negates itself. By the principle of contradiction, a worldview that asserts all choice is compulsion and all satisfaction is fake has destroyed the standards by which it could be evaluated as right or wrong. They have removed the foundation they depend upon. You now possess the most ancient tool in the Western heritage, the capacity to separate logic from persuasion, reality from trickery, craft from deception. The writer insisted you examine your happiness. I insist you justify your delight, return to your dwelling, ignite that fragrant wax. Embrace your spouse, if you are fortunate enough to have one who has stayed free from the group. Enjoy time with your offspring, construct something manually. The walking dead can only ruin, they are incapable of making. Each deed of household stability, each habit of attractiveness, each instant of calm you establish within this barren territory is a rebellious block in the fortress of the West. You guard the brightness. Now proceed and share the message. And now the sponsored book introduction, The War on Women, How Feminism and the CIA Destroyed the Family and Western Civilization. Men, listen up. The world you've been sold is a lie. Feminism didn't liberate women. It enslaved everyone. My name's Conrad Riker, and I spent decades swallowing the same poison they fed you. That masculinity is toxic, marriage is oppression, and your role as a provider makes you the villain. Then I woke up. When my daughter came home from college spouting slogans about smashing the patriarchy while drowning in debt and antidepressants, I dug deeper. What I found would have gotten me cancelled, deplatformed, or worse if I'd shouted it a decade ago. Now, the truth can't be silenced. This book isn't for the faint of heart. If you still believe gender equality is possible, that women are happier trading diapers for boardrooms, or that the wage gap isn't a myth peddled by professional victims, close these pages now. Go binge Netflix's latest trauma porn, but if you're a man who's tired of being treated as a walking wallet, a sperm donor, or an emotional tampon for a culture that despises your biology, keep reading. What follows isn't opinion, it's evidence. Declassified CIA memos proving Gloria Steinem was a spook destabilizing families. Data showing childless career women die earlier, lonelier, and broker than their grandmothers. Court records exposing how no-fault divorce laws turned marriage into male indentured servitude. I've tracked the collapse from boardrooms to bedrooms, watched friends lose kids, homes, and purpose to gynocratic courts, seen neighborhoods rot as fatherlessness birthed gang recruits, watched housing prices skyrocket once women flooded the workforce, inflating markets beyond single income reach. You think this is accidental? Think again. From Cold War ops to woke boardrooms, the playbook's clear. Break men, break families, break civilization. This book is your armor. Chapters like the dual income disaster and the marriage plantation expose systems designed to milk you dry. The beta uprising and red pill revolution hand you the tools to fight back. You'll learn why Hungary's pro-family policies WORK, how to dodge divorce rape, and why your testosterone isn't a toxin, it's the antidote. To the men reading this, you've been gaslit, taxed, and neutered. No more. To everyone else, this isn't your safe space. Put the book down. Your cult leaders won't save you when the birth rate hits 0 and the state raises your kids. For the rest of us, let's rebuild. The War on Women: How Feminism and the CIA Destroyed the Family and Western Civilization, written by Conrad Reicher. Buy now, links in description.